Palestinians in Gaza say aid delivered over the weekend is not enough and hasn't reached the population of over 2 million. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said minimal aid would be allowed to enter Gaza after images of starvation drew international criticism.
ما شفناش ولا حاجة لا شفنا مساعدات من بر ولا من جو ولا من أي مكان هينا قاعدين على الطريق ما بنشوفش شيء ولا بوصلنا أي شيء هينا قاعدين هنا بالخيام زي الشحاتين بنستنى كيلو طحين في الشحادة بيجيب لنا.
كان عائلة في مخيم تاني وثالث وقالوا الشحنات بدها تمرق ما شفناش الشحنات قالوا الأسعار بدها تنزل ما شفناش الأسعار نزلت. الوضع صعب جدا أنا مش قادرين نعيش أولادنا.
ما فيش هدنة مش شايفين هدنة لا بخصوص نرجع على دارنا ولا هينا نزحين الوضع هو حصار لا في أكل ولا في شرب.
Israel has implemented daily 10-hour tactical pauses in parts of Gaza to allow for limited humanitarian access. However, the UN said the measures would remain insufficient and the World Food Programme has called for reliable corridors and consistent access to deliver aid at scale.
Thai and Cambodian leaders will meet in Malaysia on Monday afternoon for ceasefire negotiations. It comes as clashes entered a fifth day, which has left hundreds of thousands of people displaced. They are desperate for an immediate ceasefire so that they can safely return home.
คิดถึงบ้านคิดถึงสัตว์เลี้ยงหมูหมาแมวไก่ก็ไม่รู้ใครจะให้ข้าวไร่นาเราก็เป็นห่วงเนาะอยากกลับบ้านอยากให้ยุติ
Cambodia and Thailand have both blamed each other for starting the fighting, which began on Thursday after 5 Thai soldiers were wounded following a landmine explosion. Since then, both countries have been facing widespread international pressure to stop the fighting. US President Donald Trump threatened to halt trade deals with both countries if the hostilities didn't end.
The European Union and the US have struck a tentative trade deal to avert a potentially devastating tariff war between the two of the world's largest economies. Under the agreed terms finalized on Sunday between Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and US President Donald Trump, the majority of EU exports bound for the US market will be slapped with a 15% tariff.
We've reached a deal on tariffs and trade with the United States. Today's deal creates certainty in uncertain times. It delivers stability and predictability for citizens and businesses on both sides of the Atlantic. This is a deal between the two largest economies in the world. We trade 1.7 trillion euros per year. Together we are a market of 800 million people, and we are nearly 44% of global GDP.
The preliminary deal struck in Scotland comes as a relief, especially as tensions mounted and the EU prepared several lists of retaliatory measures against US products worth 93 billion euros.
A regional passenger train derailed in southern Germany on Sunday, killing at least 3 people and injuring many others. It is unclear how many exactly were injured, however, around 100 people were on board the train.
Müssen wir davon ausgehen, dass es mehrere Tote gegeben hat, mehrere Dutzend Verletzte, darunter leider auch sehr schwer Verletzte, die inzwischen in die Krankenhäuser in der Umgebung verlastet wurden und dort versorgt werden.
Photos from the scene showed parts of the train on its side as rescuers climbed atop the carriages. Local media reported that search and rescue efforts continued through the night. The cause of the crash remains unknown. However, the region was hit by a heavy storm before the accident. Investigators are now looking into whether a landslide as a result of heavy rain could have been the cause of the crash. Germany's national railway operator Deutsche Bahn said it was cooperating with authorities in their investigation.
Meta has said it will stop all advertisements about politics, elections and social issues on its platforms in the EU as of October due to incoming legislation on political advertising. The US social media company, which owns Instagram, Facebook, Threads and WhatsApp, on Friday said the EU's transparency and targeting of political advertising regulation, also known as TTPA, quote, introduces significant operational challenges and legal uncertainties. The EU's TTPA, aimed at countering information manipulation and foreign interference in elections, entered into force in April last year. But most of the provisions that Meta calls unworkable requirements will apply fully from 10 October this year. The regulation comes amid several EU elections that have been targeted by disinformation. In December, Romania became the first EU country to cancel an election over foreign interference.
Health civil society organizations are up in arms after the European Commission's 2025 health budget revealed significant funding cuts. After months of delay, the long-awaited health program was presented this week. According to the EU executive, multiple factors contributed to the delay.
There was a transition to the new commission, which took office, or this commission that took office in December 24. There was also the need to integrate the mission letters of the commissioners into the priorities of this program.
The delay has already taken a toll, as many organizations were left unable to plan, leading to staff reductions and suspended operations.
The lack or the absence of the operating grants have pushed many in our sector into a survival mode, and especially ourselves as a big organization that has counted on these operating grants. And despite the drastic cost-cutting measures, we have been forced to reduce our team by 40% this year.
What worries civil society groups even more is a complete elimination of operating grants, the funds that support core organizational functions.
It does not mean that NGOs will not be able to directly participate. It's just that we are doing the funding now differently.
But for many NGOs, this marks more than just a bureaucratic shift. Core work on long-term issues like air pollution or digital health doesn't easily fit into short-term projects.
And I must say, this goes way beyond health. Across Europe, we see NGOs that are being deliberately weakened, that are being, which has really serious long-term consequences for democracy itself. We see it with the recipients of the LIFE grants, so the environmental NGOs, but it happens across different sectors of civil society.
Health NGOs warn that beyond the delays, these cuts will now force layoffs and halt vital activities.
The European Commission is being secretive and not consulting properly in its scramble to approve projects to mine critical raw materials, according to 4 Green MEPs. The MEPs claim the Commission rebuffed requests for information about mining of critical raw materials. They told Euronews that they are mulling legal action against the Commission. Last year, a new Critical Raw Materials Act empowered the EU to push for new mining projects. These critical materials are needed as components for electric vehicles and other clean tech products. The EU is trying to reduce its dependency on single suppliers such as China, which is the world leader in raw materials production. The MEPs quizzed the Commission on 6 projects ranging from Spain to New Caledonia, which they feared were being rushed through over local concerns, asking to see what assessments had been done. MEPs Maria Oysalo, Sarah Mathieu, and Madeleine Spy and Anna Miranda criticized the Commission for failing to respond properly, claiming one response offered earlier this year was generic and evasive. The European Commission had not replied to a request by Euronews for comment up to now.
of flying robots, and when you are inside, you just ask, let's say you ask the machine to go somewhere. You feel like you pilot, but the machine only executes what the computers want. So it's extremely easy. To pilot an airplane, you need to be skilled to pilot an helicopter, and it's very expensive to become a pilot. The machines are expensive, and the price per hour is also expensive.